Dave Ramsey does a lot of fantastic things, and in this video, I'll mention a few. But I want to take a moment to recognize two big mistakes Dave makes when it comes to investing. Let's jump right in. One of the numbers that Dave frequently throws out there is a 12% expected rate of return.
And I own several mutual funds that have averaged well over 12% in the scope of their lifetime.
12%, that is absolutely crazy. Over the last 30 years, the S&P 500 has achieved returns of 10.7% annualized. Depending on which 30-year period you use, you're going to get slightly different results, but 12% annualized has never been the norm. Going forward, expected rates of return on the S&P 500 may not be as high as they have been the last 30 years. We've had an incredible run over the last decade and then some. Dave believes that it's easy to beat the market. All you need to do is invest in mutual funds that have a history of outperformance. Find a fund that's beaten the S&P 500 over the last 50, 60, or even 70 years. That's all you need to do, according to Dave.
Well over 12% in the scope of their lifetime. And many of them are very, very old, 50 or 60 or 70 years old.
He also downplays the fact that it's difficult to find a fund with this type of return. What fund are you talking about? I've looked and it's not there, and the reason why I can't find it is because it doesn't exist. He also strangely downplays the difference between compound returns and simple returns.
Now, that is not 12% compounded. There is a difference, and people criticize me for not laying out that difference. That's fine. You can criticize me all you want.
Generally, when I'm listening to someone, I try not to get hung up on some of the small stuff and then end up missing the overall point. But the thing is, Dave's trying to make it sound like the difference between compound interest and simple interest is not that important. This is what the difference between simple and compound interest looks like. Compound interest is one of the pillars of personal finance and investing. Dave shrugs this off as a detail, but it is not a detail. Dave frequently likes to say that he uses facts and data to support his claims, and he uses his giant millionaire study to support a lot of the things he recommends. Well, the data and facts, Dave, could not be more clear on this topic of actively managed funds versus index funds. Over a 10-year period, only 5% of actively managed funds beat the market index. Well, then just pick one of these 5%, you say. Isn't that what Dave recommends? Well, it's not that simple. Let's give an example. We've got a room of 1,000 monkeys, and we give them a quarter and teach them how to flip a coin. They each flip it 10 times, and out of this group of 1,000, there's going to be a monkey or two who flips heads 10 times in a row. Well, then let's just pick this monkey, right? They're a talented coin flipper. They're going to produce the most amount of heads in the future. Well, in reality, their likelihood of flipping heads on that next flip is no higher than some other monkey. And the same is true of actively managed fund managers. Just because you pick the one that had 10 heads in the past doesn't mean they're any more likely to outperform the market going forward. It's just the law of averages, and we have so many actively managed funds out there, so there's bound to be a few that outperform. But this outperformance is not due to skill, it's due to luck. There are a couple reasons why Dave recommends mutual funds, and the first is because that's what he's always done in the past. And because of what he does and teaches with the baby steps, it's incredibly important that he be unwavering in his beliefs and his teachings on the baby steps, and any change or deviation from what he said kind of puts a crack in the foundation and reduces his overall credibility. So, if he said you need to buy mutual funds in the past, it stands to reason that he needs to continue saying that you should do so going into the future. And the second is because by making you believe that you have to buy mutual funds, there is some sort of skill or art involved in this, and you might need a professional to help you out. One of the ways that the Ramsey company makes money is having you go through one of their ELPs, or endorsed local providers. This generates revenue for Ramsey, and ultimately they're a business and they generate money. So by recommending mutual funds, it creates a greater likelihood that you're going to use an ELP. With all of this negative stuff out of the way, one of the great things that Dave does is that he recommends that people save and invest and do it consistently and aggressively.
The recent piece of research said that the number one reason that people don't have money at retirement is not because of their poor rate of return. It's because they never invest. The number one problem in retirement readiness in America today, the number one reason 401k plans are failing at your workplace management team, is not because you don't offer good mutual fund options in the 401k. It's because people don't put any freaking money in the funds.
Essentially, what Dave is preaching here is to increase your savings rate. And as it turns out, your savings rate is the number one determinant of your time until financial independence, or when you'd be able to retire if you wanted to. It does not matter how great of an investor you are. If you only save 5% of your income, you're always going to be beat by someone who's able to save 40% of their income, even if they're a slightly worse investor. Take a look at this graph. As you can see here, the greater your savings rate, the less time it takes to reach financial independence. And the relationship is not linear. When you get beyond 25%, there's an acceleration. Beyond 50%, even faster. And if you're at a savings rate of greater than 60%, it takes almost no time to reach financial independence. Ultimately, Dave gets it right. He understands that the most important factor is saving money or having a higher savings rate. It doesn't matter if you get a 10 or a 12% return. That's not going to cause you to succeed or fail. The thing that will cause you to succeed is if you, in his words, save freaking money. And this is why in my videos recently I focused on helping you save money and reduce your expenses, because this is what's going to have a massive impact on increasing your savings rate and helping you succeed financially. But these videos don't get as many views, and even not on my channel, these types of videos don't do as well, but I can't change things. This is what ultimately is going to help you build wealth, so take it or leave it. And with that said, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, comment down below, and consider subscribing. Until that next one, peace.